Ladies and gentlemen, behold the Geo Tracker, a car so unapologetically boxy it looks like it could fold itself into an Amazon package. But don't let its shape fool you. This little SUV has a story that's as wild as your group chat after midnight. Today, we're talking about Geo, General Motors' short-lived experiment that had big dreams, a tiny budget, and an even smaller lifespan. Geo was a brand born of compromise, innovation, and a little bit of desperation. Today it's a relic, but back then it kind of saved GM. It saved them from a compact car crisis. Now, let's rewind to the 1980s. Picture this. GM was losing market share to Honda, Toyota, and Nissan faster than you can say, import invasion. GM was cranking out land yachts the size of small apartments, and it wasn't working. Compact cars were no longer just a trend, they were the future. Americans wanted something that could sip gas, fit in a parking spot, and still carry your groceries, but they didn't necessarily want to buy an import. That's the twist. People were looking for cars that felt American, even if they secretly weren't. GM saw the writing on the wall and decided to do something. Enter Toyota. The efficiency masters. GM struck a deal with Toyota to create the NUMMI plant in California, a factory where they could learn Toyota's secrets to make compact cars. This partnership gave birth to the Geo Prism, which, fun fact, was basically just a Toyota Corolla in disguise. And guess what? People loved it. Why? It wasn't just efficient. It was backed by GM, sold at Chevy dealerships, and marketed as an American car. Geo had finally cracked the code. But here's the thing, this wasn't just about making cars, it was about creating jobs. At its peak, the NUMMI plant employed over 5,000 people, workers who took pride in building some of the most efficient cars of the era, and the skills they learned there would ripple across the entire American auto industry. But wait, there's more. Geo wasn't just assembling cars in California. Up in Ontario, Canada, GM partnered with Suzuki to produce the Metro and the Tracker at the Cami automotive plant. This wasn't just about cranking out cars. It was about boosting local economies and creating even more jobs. At its peak, Cami employed over 2,800 workers, contributing to the livelihoods of thousands of families in the region. Unfortunately, though, the story doesn't have a fairy tale ending. By 2010, the NUMMI plant was closed, marking the end of an era. And it wasn't like the plant was slacking. Throughout the 90s, NUMMI was thriving, cranking out over 400,000 cars a year at its peak. This wasn't just good production, it was world-class, blending GM's tech with Toyota's efficiency to set industry benchmarks. But despite all that success, bigger forces were at play. GM's bankruptcy in 2009 left them unable to stay in the partnership, and without GM, Toyota decided to pull the plug. For the workers, this wasn't just about losing a paycheck, it was about losing a piece of their identity. Protests erupted, with employees demanding answers and highlighting just how vital the plant was to the community. Of course, NUMMI is where the story ended, but it's not the full picture. Before the lights went out, NUMMI was at the heart of something bigger, a strategy that had Geo taking rebadging to new heights. What was the formula? It was to take a Suzuki, a Toyota, or an Isuzu, and slap a Geo badge on it and call it a day. And honestly, it worked. Let me try to explain this. Back in the late 80s and early 90s, a lot of Americans weren't exactly thrilled about driving imports. The idea of buying foreign didn't sit well with everyone, even if those cars were fuel efficient and affordable. That's where Geo came in with a clever strategy. Take solid, reliable models from Toyota, Suzuki, and Isuzu, and slap a Geo badge on them, and suddenly it wasn't Japanese or Korean anymore. It was American. Chevy's lineup today is impressive, with trucks, SUVs, EVs. It's got pretty much everything you'd ever need. But let's be honest, a lot of cars these days blend together. They're reliable, sure, but not much personality. Back in the 90s, every Geo stood out. They didn't try to sell you a one car for everyone. They give you options, whether you wanted something sporty for the city, practical for family life, or rugged enough for off-road adventures, Geo had you covered. And that was the magic of Geo. It felt like the brand knew you. So if you were ready to find your match, all you had to do was get to know Geo. Check this out.
Everybody's different. Different looks, different tastes, different lifestyles. That's why Geo offers you a choice. Geo Metro, Geo Storm, Geo Prism, and Geo Tracker. So pick your favorite and get to know Geo right around the corner at your Chevrolet Geo dealers.
Getting to know you.
I obviously chose the Tracker. It's rugged, fun, and somehow still turning heads decades later. Geo is all about giving people options, affordable, reliable cars for a changing world, and jobs for thousands of workers who made it happen. Next time you're looking for a car, think about this. Geo made sure there was something for everyone. Whether you needed something sporty, practical, ready for an adventure, they gave drivers options that fit their lives perfectly. They understood that a car wasn't just transportation, it was personal. Geo's story might be over, but its impact is still rolling along, just like this little tracker.
Geo Prism, and Geo Tracker. So pick your favorite and get to know Geo right around the corner at your Chevrolet Geo dealers.
Getting to know